Hey everybody, I'm Eric. This is my lovely lady Nicolle. This is our little podcast called Reflective Relationships. And with Valentine's Day tomorrow, we just thought we'd come on and talk about the sacredness of being together and spending time where time needs to be spent. What's your thoughts on this, babe?
Well, we recently had a moment on our anniversary where we had to realize our relationship needed a conversation about sacred dates and what that meant to both of us so that we could honor both people's perspectives on what those days were and what they looked like and how we both could feel seen and valued.
Yeah, I was kind of like, well, babe, our anniversary is every day because we're together. And she was like,
Well, babe, there's certain days that require a little bit more of a commitment, a promise, a assurance that that day will be um, a guarantee that you'll be spending quality time together.
and I agree. And, you know, I this isn't to say, and you had mentioned earlier that like it's up to each couple's choice what that looks like for them, and you know, like I said, for myself, I was like, every day is sacred, and yes, it is, and that's truth because we are a couple. But like, once I seen and realized how important it is for Nicolle to be celebrated and hold space for the honoring of our relationship, then you know, it made sense to me. And like, you know, is that too much of an ask? No, I love her and I want her to feel, you know, that I take time away from the busy schedule that we all always have to honor that day. So it was a nice little negotiation. And with thanks Thanksgiving, with Valentine's Day, you know, tomorrow we're talking about what that meant to us. And you know, again, my lady wants time, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think it's just important that every couple has that conversation to know, well, how do you feel about these certain holidays and which ones are important to you and what does that look like? So when our anniversary came up, for example, that day in particular to me is sort of like a recommitment day. You're like recommitting to the relationship, and to me that requires that once a year you are once again choosing each other, and that's what the anniversary symbolizes to me. Is like, it's been a whole year, and people grow so much individually in a year, and it's about that day saying, I see you today in this present moment, and
And
that
I love you for who you are today.
and I still choose you. I choose you again, and you continue to recommit on the anniversary because when you've been together years, and you look back on the person you first met and then who's in front of you today, you really realize how much that person has changed throughout those years. And so when you honor that anniversary as a day to really look again at the person in front of you and reflect back on the last year you've had together, and then just really become present with the person in front of you right now and say, I still love you, and I see who you have become in this year, and I'm with you presently and honor you presently, and that's what the anniversary symbolizes to me.
Well, and whatever holiday or you know birthday or anniversary or Valentine's Day or Christmas, whatever that is, you know, Nicole's just taught me a lot to like really be present in that moment. I tend to have my mind in lots of other things, even my heart sometimes, just out there for the community, for my friends, for my family. And you know what she's shown me is like being present with each of those things and holding space for it is such a like a pivotal way to like make sure that you stay in love, that you're concentrating on like you said, accepting each other year after year, and then like being present with that particular holiday. If it's Christmas, just like the joy of being together, the honoring of like the ending of the year and the beginning of a new one, and just like really feeling that sense of family and what it feels like to our families coming together. And then for our anniversary, like she said, like accepting who we've grown through for the whole year. And with Valentine's Day, just like love, just love itself. So I've just learned so much from you about just being very present, and like it helps me then just be even more present with myself. And so I just really appreciate that you've always brought that out of me, and I love honoring you. So thank you for that, baby.
You're welcome. And you definitely have taught me to not be so structured, like, well, today's got to be like this, the expectation of things, and you've helped me to let some of that, not let it go, because I think expectations are important to keep us, again, present and honoring each other, but to not be so, I'm a storyteller, and so not be so, I created the story of what the day was, and if it doesn't go exactly like that, our anniversary, for example, what we thought was our anniversary, and then we realized we goofed up. I had, this whole plan for us, and then some responsibilities took our time, and I got a little bit grumpy about it, and so I appreciate that you remind me that if the story didn't go as planned that day, then you can say, well, we'll just celebrate it this day, and not being so committed to a day if things don't go exactly as you planned, and to not let that story ruin now the moment that we are in, because I can definitely do that sometimes, where I can then lose the moment that we could have with the circumstances that have been laid before us. So.
Yeah, and with the expectation, I mean, even though you might hold it and it might be like a story that you created and whatnot, but like, how hard is it for me to just honor that? It's not that hard, and sometimes I just have to realize, like, hey, get out of your story, see the story, because I do want to honor that. I want to hold space for that. I want to, like, celebrate you, celebrate our love. And so sometimes, it's okay for you to give me a little grumble about the expectation. Like, dude, you're not even close to my expectation at this point, And then it helps me, like, recenter and be like, yeah, you're right. Like, holy cow, like, life can just sweep us away. And I think, the whole idea of this podcast and just focusing on our love is to really just honor that, to just be with it, just to celebrate it, because love is becoming harder. Not in the sense of, is it hard to love someone, but just so many different avenues are pulling us in so many directions, with the speeding up of time and so much busyness in our life. I think that this old-timey girl that I've got here, which I just love, really likes to be present in the moment. And I think we could all learn a lot from that. That's just being in love, just celebrating our love, just looking at each other in the eye, and just, when she gets home from work, like, how is your day? Do you need to vent? Is there anything that needs to come out, so that you can just let it go and move into your evening with me, or whatever that looks like? And it's just presence with love.
So both sacred days are important, and then also making sacredness in every day.
Sure.
So that brings us back to, like, Valentine's Day, and with that being tomorrow, that each couple makes their choice as a partnership, whether that's a day they're going to celebrate. I've had a couple conversations, with friends or colleagues about, what are you doing for Valentine's Day this weekend? And it's always mixed answers. Some people, well, we just don't celebrate that. It's more of like a forced holiday. And then other people that they're like, well, no, it's a great opportunity to say, this is a day we can commit to love. And in some relationships, those days that are honored globally or American, I'm not sure. Actually, it does give partners a day to say, well, you know what, this will be a good day for us to go ahead and say we're going to commit to celebrating each other and our love. And if that aligns with you, great. And if it doesn't, it doesn't have to. So just lots of mixed answers when I was asking people their plans for the weekend on that. So just knowing, us having a conversation, we are going to celebrate. We're going to we spend some time together, both with not with just the two of us and with others, and having it be a day of love, but not just our romantic love, love all around. And but it will very much be like any other day, but
with flowers and more kisses and sacredness.
And also that commitment, when we have like our everyday moments, they are just happening organically. But then there's something different when you say, this day I'm giving to you no matter what, and it's that commitment, and that just feels good to be chosen. And I think that's really the key when it comes to those scheduled dates, and I'm always saying too, I want us to have a once a week day, we have to have this once a week day, and it's really just about knowing like you are chosen above anything else, and how important that is when it comes to really a relationship.
Well, just to like hone in on that once a week date thing, a week can fly by so quickly, and we've came to the weekend and we still haven't had the date, and she's like, when's the date? And I'm like, oh yeah. And how easy it can just like pass, and if we don't set that, it would be nice if we could just put it on a schedule. Every Thursday we're doing it or whatever, but that's not how weeks really go. So it's really just looking ahead of that week and what day works best, and like committing to it, like she said, and signing up for it, and not just doing it because that's what we're supposed to do. It's that you want to, like, it needs to be celebrated. I don't want to go a week and just be like, whoa, did we just our life away and not celebrate our love? Because I mean, honestly, how many days do we have on this planet? And I would much rather spend most of those in love than lifing. So
in loving. Well, and you can feel it too when you have gone more than a week without, having that committed time together. You can feel it in the relationship, where you're starting to kind of feel like that.
Even like the hearts are like moving apart.
You can tell, and so why not make sure you don't get to that point, and recognize I have felt that before, and I don't want that to come again. So just it's kind of like maintenance, just like anything else.
Yeah, and we're looking for how to make love last. Like we like puppy love, we like just being in love, and we just don't want to get to that space of complacency where we're like roommates.
Yeah.
Or just hanging out together. We want, or that's your role, this is my role, we're just going about our day. Like we want to really, I want to live to be 120, and like I want to be in love on the very last day that I breathe with her. I want to say, wow, this has been an amazing journey, and I'm still in love with you, and I'll see you on the other side, And I just really love the fact that you have really pulled that out of me, because somewhere along the way, I got desensitized, and I got very into the way that society pulled me, and that's not who I am. I'm a little lover boy at heart, and I'm old-fashioned, and I open the door, and I bring flowers and look into her eyes, and all the cute things that I think really hold us together as a couple. So thank you so much, my love.
Cool.
So just as like a little, summary, like we just think that it's in your best interest to take sacred space and put it into your love affair, and just hold space for it, and honor what each other wants, and and also not to hold that expectation if it doesn't happen, because that's room for failure too. Like not every day is going to go the way you want it to, and we just gotta like honor each other along the way, and just love, and just stay committed to that commitment, right? Which is to be in love and not to fall out of it. So.
And just talking about what that looks like for your the two individuals that you are. There isn't a one size fits all in any relationship, and finding out what your partner values and talking about it, and then finding the compromise in the middle, and ideally, that you have found that person that is a reflection of you, and there will always be some compromise as long as you just keep talking it out.
Yeah. So take this conversation to your loved one, and figure out what your sacred time is in your sacred space, and what you want to celebrate, and maybe create that once a week date, or whatever it looks like for you. We're not telling you what to do. We're just saying love is the greatest thing that we have on this planet, and I want to celebrate it as much as possible, and I want to celebrate it with you. And so have that conversation. Realize that love is a reflection of what's sitting right in front of you, and honor that reflection, and give it the space that it needs to grow. Anything else, babe? All right. Well, till next time. Thanks for joining us on Reflective Relationships. Thanks.